Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Strong Book. I'm Reed, and today we are going over Chapter 5 of Stone of Farewell, Singing Man's House. So we pick up right where Chapter 3 leaves off, or at least soon thereafter. Simon is beside himself. Sludig and Benebik have been condemned to death by the hunter and huntress of the Econuk of Mintahak, and he's kind of yelling and grumbling his feelings with Hasten and just saying, hey, like there has to be something we can do. And he just says, we can't just let them die, Hasten. We can't. Benebik said his people would throw them from the cliffs. How can they be such demons? And Hasten says, why should they prison them and give us freedom and leave our weapons besides? He says, besides, we've got no rope. And Simon says to Hasten, what if we steal some rope? And then Hasten says, in darkness in a strange place like us not, we just rouse guards and get spear stabbed. And they kind of peter off their arguing, and then they see that Siskianamuk, or Siski, has come to see them, and she is kind of trying to break up her speech in chunks in kind of Erkenlandish to make sure that they can understand her. And she says, help me. And they realize that I believe she has rope with her. And so Simon and Hastings gather up all their things, and Simon packs up Thorn, and they're about to leave and everything, and she thinks that they're bringing a weapon, but he's like, no, this is what we came here. I have to carry this. And Simon feels weak, and it's almost as if the course of this journey is truly beginning to wear on him. And he tells Hasten, I don't feel very strong. It's going to be a long walk to wherever we're going, in the snow too. So if anything happens to me, please bury me someplace warm. I'm tired of being cold. And they continue to go, and they kind of see some horn bearers mounted on rams that kind of go past, and so they are able to maneuver by them. But they make it to where Benebik and Sludig, kind of the pit, because essentially they're being held in a pit. So they throw over the rope, and they of course initially think that it's the trolls there to kill them, and Sludig says, what, like they can't even, what did he say? Must they kill us at midnight to hide their deed from the sun? Still God will know. Why should we climb? Let us sit here. And they break through to them, and Benebik at first is apprehensive to going. He says, no, I'm condemned by my people. I broke my oath. I will not bear it for a second time. And Simon speaks out to him. He says, Benebik, it's me, Simon. We have to go. We have to find the Stone of Farewell. Jaloi said so. We have to take Thorn there. The troll laughed again, but hollowly. And without me, no going, no Stone of Farewell. Yes, Simon's desperation was clear. Time was running short. We don't know where it is. Jaloi said you must take us there. Naglement has fallen. We may be Joshua's only hope, and your people's only hope. So they make their way out. And he says, go on, go, I will soon catch you. And he says, whatever will be happening, stay or go, flee or fight, it is first to my master's cave we must go. Why? Asked Simon. We have not my casting bones or other things. They have likely been thrown into the cave that I shared with Ukakuk, my master, since my people would not dare to go destroying things that were the singing man's. But even more important, unless I'm looking into the scrolls, little chance there will be that I can find your stone of farewell. So they make their way to the singer's cave, to where Ukakuk lived. And I think in that moment they're reunited with Kantaka. I don't think Kantaka came with Hasten and Simon and Siski to their pit that they were at. But as they were in Ukakuk's cave, Benebik just starts to gather items to him. It says these he spread flat the items and rolled together into one heavy bundle, then dropped the whole mass into his sack, which he had found near the cave's entrance. And he says, we've got to stop. We've got to, the mess that he has made, we have to clean it up. We have to put these scrolls back. Hasten, of course, has some choice words for that. And Siski, I believe, or Kantaka, holds out a scroll tied shut with a black leather thong. The cord was wrapped not only around the middle of the roll of skin, but around both ends as well. Benebik took it from her, touching 2 fingers to his forehead in a gesture of seeming reverence. This is Ukakuk's knot, he said quietly to Simon. There's no doubting that. And the knot tells that it is something important. It is also something I have not seen before, something that was hidden from me, or that my master was making just before we left on the journey where he died. And this knot, I am thinking, was only used for things of great power, messages and spells that were for certain eyes only. But then, as they're leaving the cave, they get caught. Umanuk the herder and Nunika the huntress. They said, "So, Benebik, you will not stand and face the justice of your people? I thought more of you than that, however low your birth." And he unveils the knot that they have found. And Umanuk takes it and he begins to read it. And Ukakuk says, "I go on a long journey, and in such times that I cannot know, I will come back. So I lay my death song on his hide, that it can be my voice when I am gone. That I have seen the coming of a great cold darkness, the like of which my people have never seen. It is dreadful winter that will come from the shadow of Vehuyak, the mountain of the immortal cloud children. It will blast the lands of Ekanok like a black wind from the lands of the dead, cracking the very stone of our mountains in cruel fingers. My student," I'm going to butcher Benebik's full name, so I'm just going to say Benebik, "I will bring with me on the journey. In the time that remains, I will instruct him in the small things and long stories that may help our people in this foul time. There are other ones beyond Ekanok who have prepared lamps against this coming darkness. I go to add my light to theirs, small as it may shine against the storm that threatens. If I cannot return, young Benebik will come in my stead. I ask you to honor him as you would me, for he is eager in his learning. One day he may grow to be a greater singing man than I. Now I end my death song. I give my farewell to mountain and sky. It has been good to be alive. It has been good to be one of the children of Lingot and to live my life on the beautiful Mintahawk." Simon wakes up the next day in the it says the craggy ceiling of Chitsik Ublinget. And Benebik is with him, and they kind of share in a little celebration. And Benebik says the sentence of death has been lifted from both himself and Benebik. And he says, "Put simple, yes, we can go. And that there are many things to decide." And he says, "If I go with you to take Thorn back to Joshua, then my people are again without a singing man. But I am thinking I must accompany you. If Naglamund has fallen truly, then we should be following the words of Jaloe. She may be the last one of great wisdom that remains. Besides, it is seeming more certain that our only hope is in getting of the other 2 swords, Miniar and Sorrow. Not for nothing should your gallantry on the dragon mounting be." Benebik gestured at Thorn, which stood against the wall near where Hasten and Sludig sat. "If the Storm King's rising is unchecked, then no use there will be my staying on Mintahawk, since none of the craft Ukakuk taught me will keep away the winter we fear. And so they begin to make their final arrangements to set out. And I believe that a few of them will, or Nunica says we must break with tradition, that Benedict is free from his punishment. And Sludig is also declared free. And let me see here, it should be coming up soon. I read this earlier, so I'm just making sure I can find the spot. Yes, we shall send with them a party of hunters, led by our daughter Siskianamuk, who shall be their escort until they leave the lands of the Canuck. The hunters will then go to the spring city by Blue Mud Lake and prepare for the coming of the rest of our clans. We have gifts we wish to give you. And they're giving them a magical, or a humble Canuck knife, easier to hide, they say, and easier to use in close quarters. They give it to Simon. Haston was given a capacious drinking skin. The guardsman, who had drunk enough of the sour stuff during the previous evening to finally develop a bit of taste for it, bowed, mumbled some words of gratitude, then withdrew. Sludig was given a spear, and with that, they set out. And they also note for Benedict and Siski, if they choose to in the future, the betrothal might still stand. So they head out. And Simon says, okay, where are we going? Where is the Stone of Farewell? And Benedict says, all things in their season. I will look at my scrolls when we stop tonight, but we should leave now as soon as we can. The mountain passes will be treacherous. I smell more snow upon the wind. More snow, Simon repeated, shouldering his pack. More snow. And that is the end of chapter 5. No spoilers for this again. This was a chapter of just kind of wrapping up that Mintahawk storyline that began at the way-in of Dragonbone Chair. So now, Benedict, Sludin, Haston, Simon and company, they're off again to now go find the Stone of Farewell, which Jaloi has said is imperative that they find. So, chapter 5 of Stone of Farewell. Let me know what you guys think of it, and I will see you all next time.